Hi guys, what you working on?
Hey Jennifer.
Hey Jennifer. So I guess we should do our introductions and all that here.
Yeah, yes. Who am I chatting with?
I'm Douglas Spotted Eagle from Sundance Media Group, and with me is Sam Pepple, who's in from Pix4D. Hello.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us. And what are you guys working on?
So Sam is showing me some of the things about Pix4D that maybe I'm not necessarily familiar with. Of course, I think a lot of people know that we've been training Pix4D for the last year and a half or so, but there's always more to learn. And Sam's sharing some information with me. We're also sharing back with him what the AVOC is all about.
Great.
Absolutely. So I'm really impressed with obviously this vehicle here, this command center, the AVOC. And Douglas has put together quite a team and quite a vehicle. So anyway, we're here just kind of looking at some data, and I had a couple of questions maybe for Douglas that I was interested in asking him. Would that be okay?
Sure.
Cool. So what we're looking at here is actually using Pix4D, a photogrammetric engine for taking drone data and making measurable 3D and 2D data for accident reconstruction purposes. So my question for Douglas, who has had a long history training law enforcement, dealing in this space, when you're dealing with an institution, let's say a local sheriff's department, a metro police department, they have methods, right, that they've been using from everywhere from a tape roller, tape measure, to laser scanners, to total stations. Why photogrammetry? Why Pix4D?
Listen, actually it's easy to answer, and so you have a metro and a local sheriff. They are very different. You probably have a sheriff's department that might have a laser measurement device where they're still using a roller wheel, that kind of thing, all the way to, say, Metro is using total station TS12s, which is sort of the Kleenex, if you will, of the industry, industry. So give you an idea of how that rolls in. Let's just use a real world example. We had a fatality out near Moapa, Nevada, about a year and a half ago. And I was trying to get the Nevada Highway Patrol involved in drones and in Pix4D. So we had a little bit of a race, if you will. So the TS12 came out. By the time they got the TS12 set up and calibrated, I already had the drone up in the air. The drone had already completely flown the mission and the fatality. The data was then downloaded on the laptop, and Pix4D had already started rendering. I'll put a 2D model very, very quickly, and 3D model took a little bit longer. But nevertheless, now you contrast with the time that it took two officers, it requires two officers to operate that particular total station in the field. So you've got a watch of say 5 officers on call, or that are on watch rather, and you've got 2 people out there. You've just depleted your force by 25-30%, 40%, I guess. Anyway, then there's another 2 hours back in the station house. So now you have your force down by anywhere between 20 and 40%, depending on what they're doing, for 7 hours. Not to mention the amount of time the road closure is involved with the total station, because you can't have any traffic moving through as you're doing your measurements. Whereas with the drone, we're able to output that same data and same quality of data within a fraction of the amount of time. Now, what is even more important is because that data is orthographically corrected, or is corrected for any curvature, we can measure in post, so we can do all the same things in post. And have you ever seen what a TS12 outputs? It's basically just a black and white line drawing.
Right.
You have to present that to a jury or to an insurance company, or really anybody. If they're not trained in how to read that, they're a little bit lost. And so, like if they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, here's a traffic homicide or traffic fatality right here, where we can go in, and it's been captured from the drone. We can get very deeply into there and do all of our measurements here just the same as we would do with the TS12, except that tells a story. So when we're in front of a judge or in front of a jury, now we have something that we can articulate. Or worse, when you have a family member that you have to diagram what happened to this loved one, we're not showing them this black and white line drawing, stick figure kind of thing.
So what I've heard from you, Douglas, would be it's evocative, tells a story that a jury can clearly understand. It's tremendous time saving. So those are the 2.
Significant.
But the question I want to ask you is, what about accuracy?
Well, the accuracy can be there. It has to be. I'm not going to tell you that you can go buy a drone, throw it up in the air, throw the data in Pix4D, and have instant accurate results. You'll have really good results. but if you're going to compare them to a TS12, there's a little bit more to it than that. You need to have some kind of a ground reference point, either known or placed, one or the other. And so one of the really important things is understanding how to harness the power of a tool like Pix4D so that you can bring that accuracy to the table. If you just simply rely on throw the drone up, throw the data in, spit it out, you're going to get a great picture. That's all you're going to get. You won't be able to measure anything from it. So you need to have a good knowledge of understanding how to use the tool to its maximum efficiency. And that isn't just using it in post, it's using it in setting up the mission. Absolutely. That's one of the things where, I'm going to interrupt, I want to say something there. That's one of the things where Pix4D rocks is because you can actually set up the flight right inside Pix4D to operate your aircraft for you. And that gets you 99% of the way you need to get to those ground reference points, those reference pieces.
Absolutely. So not to get into the weeds about ground control points, that's obviously something Douglas can train you on, that's something we at Pix4D can train you on. And obviously we have a great support section. It's support.pix4d.com. I believe that's the link. The next question for you, Douglas, would be, so we're talking about, forensics, we're talking about accident reconstruction, but there's a whole other arm, whole other domains within public safety. How else are people using this technology that you're training?
So as Pix4D is involved, we're using it for doing pre-event surveillance. For example, we'll go up and we know there's going to be an event on X grounds. We're going to go up and we're going to do flight missions over that ground, fly those grounds. We're going to determine the best points of egress, the best points of ingress, security identification points, etc. Then we get to the event itself. We're going to fly that event that location shortly before the event. We're going to identify the assets that are on the ground. Have things been moved around? What is authorized? What isn't? Then we're going to fly the mission again, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever the parameter is. Did anything move? Why did it move? Wait a minute, that truck wasn't there before. Why is that truck there? Who authorized that truck? Does it have a reason to be there? And so what we do is in Pix4D, since we're only looking at two-dimensional layers, we can start to onion scan and create difference maps. And if anything changes, we immediately can see that there is something different in the image, and that requires additional investigation.
So you say change over time, change detection?
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Cool. Well, I don't know how much time everyone has online, but I had a few questions for Douglas, and I very much appreciate you answering them as well as you did.
Well, I have a couple for you.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
What are some of the things that Pix4D has coming available that maybe you can talk about that would be of benefit to law enforcement in the field? Is there anything that you're able to share with us?
Yeah, so I, without talking about things that I shouldn't talk about, we have a new product called Pix4D Fields. Now, Pix4D Fields is primarily an agricultural product, and you're saying, what does that have to do with public safety? Well, at the base of Pix4D Fields, we said, let's make a new product where the whole idea is rapid mapping, but you're still precise and still measurable data, right? So not only is it rapid in the sense that, we're looking at multi-spectral data, 10 gigs of data you can process in 5 minutes, you have an ortho mosaic. Now, RGB is going to take a little longer than that, but all RGB cameras are supported there. So what that means to you is that instead of taking maybe 3 hours to process, what you have up on screen here, that ortho mosaic, which, again, for anyone watching ortho rectified, just means distortion is removed, meaning everything is truly to scale and measurable. The tops of roofs are the tops of roofs, not the sides of buildings. So you have an ortho rectified image, and assuming that it's a relatively planar, environment, you, like a field would be, you can actually do rapid stitching, ortho rectification of imagery to have your final composite ortho mosaic. So that's called Pix4D Fields. I am selling to law enforcement as we speak because it's not just about agriculture. It's got many applications. So I can envision a time where maybe there's a product called Pix4D Law Enforcement or Public Safety that has that module as an add-on. Maybe it's directly to Pix4D Mapper. I'm not the product owner, but I can see some of the things happening.
Sure. So this Pix4D Fields you're talking about, does that require a lot of horsepower? Is this something that an officer might conceivably run on an MDT inside his patrol car?
It's good thing you asked that. So while you have these really kicking machines in here, they would be completely overkill for Pix4D Fields, in which case a 4 gigabyte laptop with a modern processor and modern CPU would be able to handle that. And down the road map, you can imagine this is done on a tablet that's actually flying the drone, right?
Outstanding, because agencies are, first of all MDTs in all patrol cars. Any cop will tell you his computer is ancient.
Yeah.
And so 4 gigs is probably right about where most of them are.
Yeah.
But they are moving to tablets because now the officer can take it out of the cradle and go in and actually write the report while he's with the victim, the suspect, or whatever the environment has to be with the report right there. That's it.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to see Pix4D fields.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe later at some point we can pull that up and show people a few things, because there's some really cool functionality with regard to annotations. So imagine you had an incident and you needed to send people to particular locations in a big area. In this tool, you can actually mark places on the map in an annotated sense. Within about a month, an actual report. Now, this is for agriculture, but again, just imagine. This report could be an HTML PDF that's sent out, or even in the future, maybe a web-based mapping service where those annotations are directly on a GIS base map for your little blue dot on your iPhone to go find. You know what I mean? So that's something maybe to look forward to.
I can't wait to see that. Sam, thanks for taking a second to talk with us, and hopefully some of the viewers are watching the stream either live or that watch a little bit later in a time shift environment. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to just keep checking in with us here on the channel. We've got a lot going on today.